Well, it's here, ladies and gentlemen. The stock market is perfectly balanced. I've spent the last few weeks creating this video and it's finally ready. The complete exploiter's explanation to a perfectly balanced financial system known as the stock market. Wait, what do you mean it's not perfectly balanced? Are you telling me that the system occasionally goes wrong? Oh no, what a shame, because surely when a system with this much money goes wrong, oh no, the right people end up losing money. And we wouldn't want the rich people losing money now, would we? Oh no, that just wouldn't do. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Now, of course, legally, I can't advise you how to game the stock market, and I cannot give you a free money get rich scheme. I would also say that if anyone out there is telling you that one exists, it's going to be a massive lie, and you need to run. Over the last few weeks, the stock market has been irrationally heralded as a way for anyone to make money without any risks. Effectively, a giant propaganda campaign has taken place where hundreds of thousands of new people have entered into the market with the belief that anyone with just £10 can somehow become a millionaire from buying from garbage companies from their childhood. This is of course a very, very dangerous belief to have, and if you're sitting there thinking the stock market will save you from your financial troubles or worries, then you should never be getting close to the stock market. If you're thinking, oh boy, I need to jump on the next big Bitcoin or GameStop so I can get rich, then congratulations, you need to prepare yourself for what the rest of us do when we get that sensation. We of course go onto Wall Street bets around about 6 months down the line and post our stock report showing a majestic 99% loss of our investments, our house, and most of our kidneys. So what are we going to cover in today's video then? Well, we're going to be talking about the broken stock market exploits of history, of course the GameStop short squeeze, cryptocurrency as a whole, and of course our Lord and Savior of financial guidance, the supreme president of the universe, Elon Musk. Because at the end of the day, if there is any infinite money scheme in the universe, it's accidentally being created by this individual here, whether he likes it or not. Now, it's important to remember that in 2021, the stock market is made up of three important groups. Group number one are of course giant hedge funds and investment companies who make giant profits by investing monolithic quantities of capital which have the ability to make or break any market. The second group are made up of AIs and bots who spend 90% of the time trading with other AIs and bots, and then the other 10% of the time finding the best way to post fake information claiming that Dogecoin will overtake Bitcoin by 2023. And finally, we have you and I. We're the random chumps who just got our hands on a crisp £100 note from an elderly relative after convincing them that we somehow saw the rise of Bitcoin happening in 2017. Hopefully your elderly relative will forget about the money they gave you before they inevitably ask about where it went, because we all know where it went. Oh, it went so far down into the red, didn't it? Now, the stock market is made up of two pretty basic principles of money making that are 100% not gambling, I promise. Look, it's green and red. You've never seen those colors before. Now, when it comes to trading, you either bet on the future price of something or you collect a dividend as a shareholder. Now, as a gamer and someone who frequents Wall Street bets, everyone knows that if you're buying a share for a steady stream of income instead of chasing tendies, then evidently you're too old to have any fun investing and should go back to the 1920s. So when it comes to that endorphin pumping gambling side of the stock and share market, there's two things you can do. You either short a stock or you buy a stock. So how does that work? Now, don't worry, this explanation is going to be very simple and very short, because I understand not many of you fully understand how the stock market works, and the good news is you don't particularly need to. So when it comes to buying a share, it basically involves buying a share at a set price from a broker with the intention of selling it at a later date, usually when the value of the share has gone up so that you can actually sell it for a profit. But what about shorting? Well, shorting involves making an agreement with a broker where effectively they trade you a share for a company, you then instantaneously sell that very same share, and you have an IOU saying you will buy that share back and give it to the broker. Now, the way this works is relatively simple. Let's say you buy a share that's worth £10 from a broker. Now, your intention is for that share to drop to being only £5. That way you can then choose to buy that share back, give that share back to the broker, and the broker will give you your £10. But it only costs you £5 to buy that very same share back, meaning you just made yourself £5. However, if the share goes upwards, well, you're still going to have to buy that share back at one point or another, because that share price could theoretically go up infinitely. And let's say you bought a share for £10 with the intention to buy it back when it was cheaper, and suddenly that share is now worth £500. Well, this is the issue where GameStop comes into the picture, because at that point, you've lost a lot of money. This is the joyous game of the stock market, and my goodness, is it a terrifying monstrous beast which bankrupts people and companies nearly constantly. Now, this is the basic setup of the stock market, and all that's left is to of course add in the chaos, and bam, there we go. We've got the perfect storm for get-rich-quick schemes and get-broke-even quicker speedrun schemes. So let's cover the latest stock market exploit on everyone's mind, the legendary GameStop short squeeze. Now, real short squeezes of this size are very rare in stock markets, mostly because there's very few investment firms with the actual capital to pull it off, and even less investment firms who are willing to sacrifice everything in an attempt to pull something like this off. Now remember that these events in the stock market are exceedingly rare, so if your mate Dave tells you that GameStop 2 is happening next week, then you need to tell Dave to stop injecting coffee into his frontal cortex. Generally speaking, as an investment rule of thumb, if one of your family members or friends is telling you to invest in something, it's already too late or a terrible idea to invest in that thing. So what is a short squeeze? So remember, when someone shorts a stock, they have to eventually buy back the share that they instantly sold. They of course hope to do so at a lower price. However, eventually the shares have to be bought back, especially if the investor is forced to limit their losses. In the case of GameStop, multiple hedge funds placed giant short orders predicting that the value of the GameStop share price would go down. For a hedge fund, this is a relatively standard deal. 2020 has been pretty hard on brick and mortar game companies like GameStop for, well, obvious reasons of none of us being allowed to go outside, so it was an easy bet for them to predict that the share price would probably go down at least a few percent. Now, because these companies are dealing in such large quantities of shares, it's easy for them to make millions of profits off of just a single percentage change in the share price of a company. Now, what happens if a group of absolute nutjobs want to bankrupt a hedge fund and take all of their money away from them? Well, as we mentioned, the hedge fund who shorted eventually has to buy back those shares for the broker. Even if the price has gone up, the hedge fund must still pay out of their own savings to cover the difference. Now, as the hedge fund has to buy back the shares, the process of the hedge fund buying back the shares drives the price up even further, making all subsequent shares they buy back even more costly. The more they buy back, the more it costs them, the more it costs them, the more they have to buy back. This is the death spiral of economics, one which is almost impossible to get out of. So how on earth did this cycle start? Well, step one occurred when several users on Reddit noticed that a giant short order had been placed against GameStop. It was a short so big it basically outdid the entire company. Now Reddit of course notices this and starts buying the GameStop share when it's exceedingly low to try and drive the price up. Now hedge funds aren't stupid, they'll see stuff like this happen every once in a while, and when a price is starting to rise at a rate that they don't like, they'll start selling a few shares at a loss to try and drive the price back down again and encourage other investors from Reddit to sell with a small profit that they've made. This is a smart move because the vast majority of people aren't willing to risk everything on the stock market, or at least that was the case until a couple of weeks ago, where basically everyone online went insane. The issue is Redditors didn't back down, they just simply bought more shares to force the price higher up, meaning hedge funds had to spend more money to buy back shares, driving the price higher up still. Now, hedge fund eventually reaches a point where the percentage losses on all shares eclipse the actual wealth of all of their assets, and bam, they've gone bankrupt. So what happens when the hedge fund goes bankrupt? Well, the price goes up yet again, and Reddit profits. Well, some of it. The issue is it's actually very difficult to predict the stock market, and it's also very difficult to predict investors. Some people on Reddit turned a gigantic profit of multi-millions, but you have to remember that in investment, the vast majority of people probably bought in around about the $100 mark and have now lost a large amount of money. So much so that they've probably been spooked and sold their shares. So it doesn't matter that you and your mates are still brigading message boards saying that you must hold GameStop until the day that you die because eventually in 2050 the price of the share will be at 10 grand. Sure, there is a chance of that happening, but is it really going to happen? Sure, there is a distinct possibility of that happening, but there is equally a distinct possibility of me winning the lottery tomorrow. And so consequently, we're in this situation where once again there are winners and losers everywhere. Some people made a lot of money, some people lost a lot of money, and Elon Musk watched on the sidelines and made memes. But enough of the winners and losers. It's time for us to talk about the greatest exploit of all. The only way which for some reason so far has guaranteed a 100% profit on the stock market for me. Allow me to present to you Elon the Savior. Do you want to know how to guarantee profits on the stock market? Well, guess what? There are only two ways to do it without having a giant multi-billion investment. The first is a method I actually use to generate a nice steady income, and the second can be used to potentially make billions. So how does it all work, and what does it have to do with Elon Musk? And why on earth is everything starting to sound like a pyramid scheme? Well, there are basically two ways you can be part of the great celebrity and influencer revolution of the stock market. The first method I like to call the Elon Bot 5000. This strategy revolves entirely around the worship of Elon Musk and a rather basic bot setup, or just fast reaction times and basic prediction skills. So as you might have seen in recent news, Elon Musk tweeted about GameStop, Bitcoin, CD Projekt Red and Dogecoin, and all of these tweets were followed by a percentage increase in the price of these stocks and commodities of at least 10%. The man is effectively a walking stock market manipulator. Twitter. If Elon says something, the price of that thing instantaneously increases. It's an incredible power to have, but because it is so predictable, it can be exploited. So how can we exploit this? Well, what you want to do is basically have an account set up on at least one fast trading stockbroker and an account on some kind of crypto exchange platform. Then set up as many notifications as possible to bombard your phone every single time Elon tweets, and as soon as he does it, you need to know exactly what he said and be ready to act upon it in less than 5 minutes to maximize your profits. As soon as Elon tweets, quickly invest your share of designated spare gambling money and then throw it all into the drain as you invest it into whatever random thing Elon just mentioned. Then all you have to do is wait about 30 to 60 minutes and then sell. Whilst many of you will probably say that, hey, you should hold on, that's a risky play, and we don't need risk, especially when we have the joyous savior that is Elon Musk. Elon is not some kind of incredible investing guru where whatever word he says is actually secretly a fantastic way to get all of his followers insanely rich. No, Elon is just a guy spreading memes. How do I know this? Well, he hypes up joke cryptocurrencies like Dogecoin. This is a cryptocurrency which is so easy to mine the price is continuously deflating, and it would require literally trillions and trillions of investments for it to ever even break the $100 per coin threshold. So whilst many of you are thinking that Elon Musk is creating the next Bitcoin, no, even if Elon Musk spent all of his wealth on the planet, Dogecoin will never even get close to being the same value as Bitcoin. So whilst it won't ever be the next Bitcoin, we're here not to get delusional, we're here to make a quick buck. Now, of course, the issue with the Elon stock trade is that many of us are busy humans who spend 80% of our days making and drinking tea. Oh, okay, well maybe just me then. So surely there's a way to actually streamline this process of monitoring Elon Musk. And of course there is. It's called creating a custom bot, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I've been using a personal bot that just detects pre-chosen stocks and shares terms from any of Elon's tweets and auto-invest my designated quantity of money and then sells it at exactly 30 minutes later. However, a member of the community has actually built a Doge trading bot which auto-detects any images of Doge and auto-buys Dogecoin and sells it after a set percentage. You can find it in a link in the description, but of course if you're good with coding, it's not actually a difficult thing to set up yourself. But of course, what if you want to bypass the Elon tweet method and do it yourself and become an Elon Musk? Well, here's everything you need to do to actually create your very own bit of market manipulation, and like Elon, farm your own influential reach for massive gain. So here's what you need to properly break the stock market. 1. You simply need to get yourself a following of about 5 to 10,000 active people who you can somehow convince to either follow your investment or get them to brigade as many people as possible online. If you don't know how to gain 5 to 10,000 active followers, then I've got some good news for you. I have a video releasing on Friday the 19th this month which will basically tell you how to speedrun the entirety of YouTube and go from 0 followers to 1 million viewers in less than a month. It's an insanely easy thing to do, so whilst this step might seem daunting, it's actually probably the easiest part. Step 2, you need to find yourself a cheap penny stock, something which is generally worth around £1 or $1. The reasoning is simple. If you're trying to convince people to buy a stock or a share and that share is £20, people aren't going to invest £20 into it. The sensation of turning £20 into just one commodity isn't as strong as the sensation of converting £20 into 200,000 Dogecoin. Now that sounds fun. Next up, you preferably also want to have this stock or share be something relatively stagnant, something that the stock market isn't trading regularly, but has seen success in the past. Now, of course, generally if you want your stock or commodity to be even more powerful, you also want to make sure that it's a meme or have some kind of comedy factor so that it can go viral. Stocks like GameStop are a perfect pick because people remember them from their childhood, nostalgic. Dogecoin is especially a great choice because it is a literal meme and was set up as a joke. And then the 4th step of this is pretty simple. You need to set up a reverse funnel scheme. That's right, you just basically get a funnel, flip it on its head, and make sure to never call it a pyramid. You then use this scheme to convince other people to invest, hand out copies of this scheme to all of your followers, and then get them to spread it all around the internet. Now, of course, once your followers are invested, you can then get them to brigade people online like Elon Musk, meme musicians, and of course adult film celebrities on OnlyFans. These are the key demographics to convince people to invest in meme stocks. Then, once you've got that all set up and running, you just simply need to wait and then enjoy what will probably be you more than tripling your garbage investment. This strategy sounds dumb, sounds stupid, but guess what? It actually works. It's pure insanity, and in order to prove just how crazily it works, we're going to do a social experiment, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, it's important to realize that this is vaguely illegal, and the reason Elon Musk hasn't been arrested for market manipulation is pretty simple. It's because Elon has never actually told anyone to buy Doge. He's just simply said Doge, done a Twitter poll a couple of times, posted a few memes. Heck, even if he purchased millions of Dogecoin before his tweet, he still hasn't really committed any deliberate market manipulation. So it's time for for us to actually do our glorious social experiment and perfectly balance the stock market. Now, as much as many of you would love me to, I don't know, just name some random really cheap meme stock like some kind of American weed company worth like $1 and then watch as it skyrockets into becoming $40, that is insanely market manipulation and completely and utterly illegal. So instead, here's what we're going to do. We're going to fabricate ourselves a cryptocurrency and then convince people that it's the latest sensation and hit. This cryptocurrency will not exist, will never exist, and the concept of it will simply exist to prove a point that you can basically convince anyone that something's going to be the next big hit at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're announcing the Spiff Coin, the only crypto on the market to offer a 420 petaflop return on hash rates. And most importantly, it's the only cryptocurrency on the market that is being used as the leading cryptocurrency of Belgium. That's right, Belgium just agreed to get rid of the euro and embrace the Spiff Coin. So, what is a Spiff Coin? Well, actually in reality it's nothing. It's just a fake logo, but it does have its very own website right here. Now, this website features a simple button that visitors press if they want to buy Spiff Coin, and of course what happens if you press it? Bam! But that's not all, because we'll also be keeping track of how many users visit this website so we know just how many people fell for the greatest non-existent stock market opportunity of the decade. But of course we can't do this alone and create the ultimate fake cryptocurrency without your support. We need your help to make Spiff Coin a reality. Well, not a reality, a fake reality. You see, with enough bogus sounding financial statistics being spread around online by a large enough quantity of people, you can convince just about anyone to ask what is a Spiff Coin. If you do your part, then we might just create a world where in 2 weeks time you have to explain to your mother that a Spiff Coin is not a real thing and no, you cannot buy it. But nonetheless, you can be proud that you were in fact one of the early fake investors. So simply hop onto my Twitter at @TheSpiffingBrit and borrow from my fine stock of fake investment sounding terms and graphs. Or go to the Discord or comment section where I'm sure someone will have created some perfectly intelligently sounding reasons to invest in this fake coin. Today we will unleash a horde of silliness that will leave its mark on internet history, so thank you for doing your part. And I swear if I wake up and see #SpiffCoin trending on Twitter tomorrow, something will have gone fantastically wrong. Now remember, SpiffCoin 100% isn't a pyramid scheme. It's actually a pyramid monolith, a completely different scheme entirely. For unlike a pyramid scheme, we are fanatical, and we will stop at nothing to see SpiffCoin market domination. You can do your part by liking and sharing this video, or by spreading the legendary SpiffCoin propaganda. Now of course, why are we doing this? Well, it's to prove a point to sadly the people who fall for everything they hear online, and instead to encourage them to stop and think a bit and actually research what they're going to be investing into before they press the giant great big rickroll button. If this works correctly, then hopefully we will have stopped at least one person from losing their entire life savings on some random YOLO stock. So thank you, my majestic early investors in SpiffCoin, for your continued support in helping us perfectly balance the 2021 virtual stock market. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We've done it. We've fixed the stock market. Oh, wait, that's actually impossible. There is no fixing this system. It's balked, and you know what? That's fine. But following today's video, we're going to be able to prove a point online. We're going to prove that once and for all, if enough people talk about an investment, it's going to become viral. So using my platform of 2 million subscribers and however many people ended up watching this video, I urge all of you to take to Twitter or whatever comment sections you find easiest and tell people about the wonders and joys of SpiffCoin. Do your part and accidentally make history for what will be the dumbest investment campaign known to man, because we'll be convincing millions of people that they ought to invest in something that doesn't exist. Hopefully in a few weeks time we're going to be seeing hundreds and hundreds of posts of people saying, how do I buy SpiffCoin? And the joyous answer is, you will never be able to buy SpiffCoin, because deep down the SpiffCoin was inside of us all along. That's right, really, you're the most valuable commodity. When it comes to the stocks and shares market, sure there might be financial winners and losers, but the real losers are people's mental health. If you are actually interested in going into the stock market, then only use a very small amount of money and practice good mental health strategies. The best advice anyone can give you when it comes to the stock market is not what stocks or shares to invest in, but rather to keep an eye on yourself and remember that you are more valuable than any stock portfolio in the world. You're an incredible human being and you should be proud of that. Whether you missed out on Dogecoin and have a great fear of missing out is irrelevant. You're a fantastic human being and you should just be proud of that. So hey, I hope you enjoyed today's video and learned a bit more about the adventures and exploits of the stock market. As I mentioned, our magnum opus of YouTube exploits is going to be released this Friday, and yeah, trust me, you don't want to miss out on this one. So if you want to make sure you see it, then heck, you can subscribe to this video and even turn on notifications, which sometimes work. Honestly, YouTube has no idea whether it works or not anymore. But hey, you might as well press a bell. But as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm sure many of you will be going down into the comment section writing up fake propaganda for Spiffcoin, which I'll be sure to copy and paste all over Twitter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't really planning on adding anything else to this video. However, Jake Paul just tweeted, and my goodness, I don't normally cover silly things that other YouTubers do, but this is effectively exactly what the purpose of Spiffcoin is about. What Jake Paul has done here is he's basically told his very impressionable audience, who generally sit around the age range of 16, that when he was 16, he bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin and made a whole bunch of money, and so hey, you out there young 16-year-old, you should buy a whole bunch of Dogecoin. Now, the reason why Jake Paul is probably doing this is not to make a huge amount of money off of Dogecoin, because all of Jake Paul's followers buying Dogecoin is probably not going to inflate the price by that much. However, what he is trying to do here is basically to land in a newspaper, which is the most important factor. If Jake Paul actually wanted to make a copious quantity of money off of his fans, then he would probably go to some kind of penny stock and go, hey, buy all of this, we can get rich really quickly. This, however, is absolutely devastating. If you don't know why Dogecoin physically can't ever reach the heights of Bitcoin, do some research. It's a joke currency, it can't achieve it. But this is basically the kind of behavior we need to stop. So if you're out there, make sure to promote the Spiffcoin, make sure to get as many people rickrolled as possible so that whenever they see a tweet like this in future, they actually do some research before they throw $100 into effectively the drain. Now the thing is, I don't really know if they've actually broken the law, because at the end of the day, all he said is that Dogecoin is going to be going up in value and that he's personally been holding Dogecoin. But the issue is, this is pretty much the same as me finding a garbage penny stock. Yo, what up fans? It's me, your Lord and Savior, Spiff Paul, and today I'm telling all of you young'uns who don't actually even have access to a share dealing account, so you won't even be able to buy this, to go buy yourself a metric ton of this random company's share. Why should you buy it? Trust me, it's going to the moon. I hear this is going to be the next Tesla. How do I know it's going to be the next Tesla? Trust me, it's been around since 2006, and look at that share price. Look at that share price go. It was once something. Okay, it's going to go back up there. I promise. If it goes down, it goes up. It's dips. Buy the dip. Sure, it's been dipping for the last 4 years, but buy the dip. Buy the dip, guys. It's going to the moon. To the moon, baby. To the moon. This is basically what he's saying. It's absolutely terrible. I will say, if you actually want any kind of stock advice, don't take it from influencers. Don't take it from anyone. Don't even take it from me. If I ever in the future tell you to buy something, only buy that thing if you've actually done research and want to buy that thing. I will say, it's not all doom and gloom when it comes to shares. If you do want to learn more about stocks and trading, I recommend probably the r/penny stock subreddit is quite good fun. But otherwise, the only other source that I can recommend is probably the Twitch streamer known as the Stock Guy. He's a very fun guy who will shout at you for buying GameStop and holding it until it crashes. So yes, stay safe, stay smart, and for goodness sake, do not follow the advice of Jake Paul. Equally as always, thank you very much to all of my majestic patrons. These guys, whose names are on screen, are absolutely majestic. They make it so that we can create all of these fantastic and silly videos, and they also afford me the necessary legal protection when effectively my spare time hobbies include money laundering cash out of Steam and EA. So thank you very much, patrons. And heck, if you're sat there wondering what video you want to watch next, well, look no further than this one on screen now. Trust me, if you enjoyed today's video, you're gonna love this one. Anyway, I'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have an absolutely lovely day, my friends, and goodbye for now.